On July 20th, Anthropic gutted Fable 5. They cut everyone's usage limits by a third. Then they capped their most powerful model at half of whatever was left. And pro users locked out completely. 4 days later, they shipped Claude Opus 5, half the price of Fable 5. And on most of the work you and I actually do every day, it matches Fable 5 or straight up beats it. So let's be very clear about what happened here. Nobody beat Fable 5. No competitor took it down. Anthropic killed it themselves. On purpose. And by the end of this video, I'm going to prove exactly how far Opus 5 goes. Because this video, the one you're watching right now, was edited by Opus 5. In minutes, I'll show you. But let's back up, because I need you to understand why that happened. A few months ago, Anthropic dropped Claude Fable 5, and I want to be fair here. Fable 5 is a monster. On paper, it's still the most capable model Anthropic has ever shipped publicly. I'm not taking that away from it. The problem was never the intelligence. The problem was that nobody could afford to use it. $10 per million input tokens. $50 per million output. The most expensive model Anthropic has in general availability, period. And I felt that personally. I'm on the Max plan, not Pro, Max, the expensive one. And I burned through my weekly limit in a handful of prompts. Not a handful of hours. A handful of prompts. And it wasn't me being heavy-handed. Run the numbers from the intro. Cut a third, then have what's left. You end up with about a third of the Fable access you used to have. Pro users had it worse. They lost Fable 5 inside the subscription entirely. $100 of usage credit, and after that you're paying raw API rates out of pocket. Anthropic's own words. Fable demand has been, quote, hard to manage and frustrating for users. Yeah, it was. So I did what a lot of you did. I left. I moved to ChatGPT Soul. It was running at about a third of what Fable 5 cost. When you're paying per output token, that's not a small difference. That's the whole decision. And then July 24th happened. Anthropic shipped Claude Opus 5. Every platform, day one. The API, the Claude app, and Claude Code all at once. Now look at the timing again. July 20th, they make Fable 5 almost unusable. July 24th, they hand you this. That is not a coincidence. That's a replacement. And here's the number that matters before we touch a single benchmark. $5 per million input. $25 per million output. Same price as Opus 4.8, exactly half of Fable 5. It became the default model on Max and the most capable model Pro users can touch. Think about that. The Pro users locked out of Fable 5 4 days earlier just got handed the strongest model they have ever had on that tier. Included. No credits, no API bill. Anthropic didn't take the good model away from you. They took the expensive one away and gave you something that does the same job for half. Okay, benchmarks. Real ones. SWE Bench Verified. The standard test for real-world software engineering. Opus 5 sits around 97%. But I'll be straight with you. At that level, everybody is clustered within a point or two. Nobody is winning SWE Bench anymore. It's saturated. So let's look at the benchmarks that aren't. ARC-AGI 3. Novel problem solving. Puzzles the model has literally never seen. Opus 5 scores around 30%. The next best model? Around 10. That's 3 times the second place score. That's not a rounding error. That's a gap. IMO 2026, the International Math Olympiad. Opus 5 solved 42 problems out of 42. No agent harness, no external tools. Just the model. The historical gold medal threshold is 29. Now here's where it gets interesting for the Fable question. Cursor Bench 3.2. At max effort, Opus 5 lands within 0.5% of Fable 5's peak score. At half the cost per task. OS World 2.0. Computer use, actually driving a desktop. Opus 5 beats Fable 5's best result at just over a third of the cost. Apex agents, real professional work. Investment banking, consulting, legal, medical. Opus 5 edges out. Fable 5, half the price. Same or better on the work most of us actually do. Now, I'm not going to sell you something I don't believe, so let me give you the other side. Opus 5 is not better than Fable 5 at everything. On the Epoch Capabilities Index, a benchmark built to resist saturation, aggregating dozens of tests, Opus 5 still sits behind Fable 5. On raw ceiling, Fable is still the king. And there's a weird one you need to know about. On coding tasks, performance can actually peak at medium effort, and then decline at higher settings. So if you're cranking effort to max on every task thinking more is always better, it isn't. Test it. Medium is often the sweet spot, and it's cheaper. So Fable 5 is still the ceiling. Opus 5 is the floor. And that floor moved so far up that the ceiling stopped mattering for most of the work. And that's how you actually kill a model. You don't beat it on a benchmark, you make it not worth the money. Alright, I promised you proof at the start of this video. Here it is. I didn't edit this. I handed Claude Code, running Opus 5, my voiceover and my footage, and it built the entire After Effects composition. The cuts, the timing, the text animations, the B-roll placement. Every single thing you have been looking at for the last 5 minutes. It took minutes, not hours. Minutes. And I want to be clear about what that actually means, because this is the part people miss. This is not a model writing me a Python script. This is a model driving a professional creative application, holding an entire timeline in its head, and shipping a finished edit. And that is the whole story of this video. Because Fable 5 could probably do this too. But Fable 5 would have eaten my entire week's usage to do it one time. Opus 5 does it, and I still have room to work the rest of the day. Same job, half the price. That's the kill. So where does that leave you? If you left Claude because of the pricing, like I did, come back. The math is completely different now. If you're on Pro, you just got the best model you have ever had on that tier, included. If you're on Max, Opus 5 is already your default. You don't have to do anything. And if you're still paying for Fable 5 for the absolute hardest problems, keep it. Just stop using it for everything else. That's the mistake I was making, and it cost me a subscription. Anthropic killed Fable 5 for most of us. And honestly, they did us a favor. Now, if you want me to show you exactly how I edited this video, the setup, the prompts, the whole workflow, tell me in the comments. The breakdown is in the description, and if enough of you want it, the full tutorial is the next video. Drop a like if this just saved you a subscription. I'll see you in the next one.